House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is defending his decision to give Fox News host Tucker Carlson exclusive access to 44,000 hours of Capitol surveillance footage from the January 6th insurrection. McCarthy told the New York Times that he had promised to do so after being asked by the media about the tapes. He said, quote, "I think sunshine lets everybody make their own judgment." He didn't say truth, by the way. Now, other news organizations, including NBC News and MSNBC, have formally requested that Kevin McCarthy grant them access to the same security footage that he shared with Tucker Carlson at Fox News. We have not heard back from McCarthy's office. But why should we be worried that this material is in Carlson's hands specifically? Well, for starters, he's a conspiracy theorist who has repeatedly questioned and downplayed the insurrection.
When are they going to admit there was no insurrection? Never. So FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, according to government documents. So it turns out that this white supremacist insurrection was, again, by the government's own admission in these documents, organized at least in part by government agents. But what did happen exactly on January 6th? What's the truth of that day? Well, that's still unknown. This was not an insurrection. But you know what will get you to insurrection? If you ignore the legitimate concerns of a population.
I'd get in trouble if I threw something right now. My Power Political panel joins me now. Fernanda Mondi, MSNBC political analyst and Democratic pollster, and David Jolly, MSNBC political analyst as well, and former Republican congressman from Florida. David, like me, is no longer with the Republican Party. That's a very important thing we have to add there, right, David? Fernanda, I want to start with you. I need your immediate reaction to the fact that McCarthy gives over what Tucker Carlson himself has called unfettered access to 44,000 hours of the surveillance footage.
It just doubles down on what we know. Kevin McCarthy is beholden to MAGA. He is beholden to Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Fox News, because if he doesn't comply with their every wish, Kevin McCarthy knows they will immediately call for his unfitness as speaker. And all it takes is one vote now because of what he negotiated away during that fight to become speaker. This shows you what a compromised speaker acts and looks like, Katie.
You know, David, to Fernand's point, you got Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Representative Benny Thompson. They're slamming Kevin McCarthy, warning that the release of this video could compromise Capitol security there. It's also a concern that Tucker Carlson will do what he does best, right? He'll spread more conspiracy theories while selectively editing this sensitive material. McCarthy told supporters he gave Tucker Carlson access to this footage on Wednesday during a fundraising appeal. David, my fear is this one of the deals that McCarthy brokered, one of those backroom deals that we don't know the details about, in order to secure the speakership? And is this the kind of alarming things we can expect more of down the road?
It's clearly one of the things we can expect down the road. I think there's a lot to unpack here, Katie, starting first and foremost with the acknowledgement that Tucker Carlson is becoming one of the most dangerous voices in American culture. And you see it nightly, and the statements that he just made indicate his danger to American culture. The big question around Kevin McCarthy, though, I think is this. Is this because he is beholden to the MAGA caucus, or is this because he's now fully a part of it? Is this Kevin McCarthy's J6 insurrectionist apologist tour? It certainly seems like it. This would be an odd thing that he had to promise to become speaker. I think this reflects who he is, and he's willing to jeopardize national security and Capitol security for his own political ambition.
For now, let's talk about MAGA circus, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a member of Homeland Security. I don't want people to forget that, making headlines calling for a national divorce. I want to take a really quick listen to what she's been saying about it.
Everyone I talk to is sick and tired and fed up of being bullied by the left. And the last thing I ever want to see in America is a civil war. No one wants that. At least everyone I know would never want that. But it's going that direction.
That's some pretty weak backpedaling. That was her doubling down on Fox News on Tuesday night. She's calling for a civil war. I don't care what she wants to sugarcoat it with now. She's basically looking for the secession of red states from blue states. How is that not supposed to be interpreted in any different way?
It's not. She's calling for civil war. Let's say it again. She's calling for civil war. When she took her oath of office and put her hand on the Bible, she didn't pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the red states. She preserved and protected and defended the United States. And Katie, this is someone who is an open insurrectionist, a defender of the January 6th attempted coup. I don't understand what it takes to now have where are the calls for violation of oath of office. Remember during the Trump era when we saw over and over again Hatch Acts violated on a daily basis, and we said, where is law enforcement? I ask the question now. You heard her unrepentantly calling for civil war with that national divorce. It's not coded language. It is clear, explicit language, and that needs to be a violation of her constitutional oath. But we can't expect a compromised speaker in Kevin McCarthy and the Republican leadership, who is in essence following along that line, to do anything about it. That's the problem we're in today.
And, you know, David, you served in Congress. You were at the United States Capitol serving alongside with Democrats and Republicans. Is that the case, that because Kevin McCarthy will not gatekeep and will not keep people in control, that we're facing this problem now?
Yeah, in many ways, he's been overrun by unserious legislators, and I actually worry about that. I think the House has become a bit of a playground and not able now to respond to international national crisis, but for some of the leadership you occasionally see from those who have been there for a while. And the ignorance of Marjorie Taylor Greene's comment is a perfect reflection. Lady, last I checked, Georgia's trending blue. So, Marge, if you want a national divorce, welcome to all your new Democratic colleagues. I hope you can work well with Gavin Newsom. Because of how stupid of a comment could you make. But I think the danger in it, as much as we make light of it, is not just the call for civil war. It is when you wrap it in her declaration that she is a Christian white nationalist and we need to be a nation of white nationalism. That's where you get to the real danger, where it erodes illiberal democracy. It tramples on religious freedoms and the other freedoms that the United States has previously protected. The unseriousness comes back in then when you see her elevated by Kevin McCarthy and given equity among her Republican colleagues as though this is now a legitimate voice in the House, raises a lot of dangerous questions for where we are.